Real security. It doesn't come from a paycheck, it comes from yaqeen, certainty that Allah never abandons the one who walks his path. So yes, be responsible, work hard, take halal means, but never let this dunya make you forget who you are. Believers aren't built in boardrooms. They're built in the silent nights of dua, in tawakkul, in sacrifice. If you live like that, you won't need a platform. Your footsteps will echo in the heavens. So remember this. Your risk doesn't come from a company. It comes from Al-Razak. Your future isn't written by gatekeepers, it's written by Allah. So comment this dua to keep it close. Ya Allah, grant me rizq that brings me closer to you. And if this video reminded you to trust again, share it, not for likes, but so another heart can return to the only one who truly provides. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. You wake up, you check your phone. No reply from that company, another rejection. Your inbox is silent, but your heart is loud with anxiety. Here's the part no one ever talks about. You are not alone. Thousands of others wake up with the same weight on their chest, scrolling through job listings they don't even want, just trying to survive in a system that was never designed for peace. But what if the problem isn't you? What if Allah is intentionally closing those doors because your provision, your rizq, was never written to come from there? What if it's meant to come from a place you've ignored, a door you're too afraid to knock on? Right now, you might feel like clicking away, but don't. Because this isn't empty motivational hype. This isn't manifest your dream job nonsense. This is reality. And maybe, just maybe, this moment is the one that helps it all finally make sense. You did everything right. You worked hard, you sent the applications, you even cried to Allah in your du'as, but still, nothing. Don't give up. Don't decide this early that you failed, because maybe what you're about to hear is something no one told you before. And it might be exactly what your soul needs. We live in a world that worships productivity. If you're not grinding, you're labeled lazy. If you're not constantly busy, you're called useless. They sell you the illusion. Your worth is measured by how exhausted you are at the end of the day. But Islam didn't come to make you a slave to corporations. It came to free you, to make you a slave of Allah. Sadly, too many Muslims now measure their self-worth by the titles they hold, the emails they send, the job offers they get. We've been taught, work harder, and everything will fall into place. But ask yourself, if rizq really came from hustle, why isn't the hardest working man the richest? Why does the man carrying bricks under the sun earn less than someone sending emails from a beach? Because hustle was never the true source of provision. Allah is. Now don't misunderstand. Islam absolutely encourages hard work. The Prophet said, "No one ever ate better food than that which he earned with his own hands." But Islam never said, "Burn your soul, destroy your health, and forget your purpose." Work is noble, but worship is higher. And when hustle becomes your identity, you forget who really sustains you. That's why so many feel empty. Not because they aren't working hard, but because they're serving the wrong master. If we truly believe that Allah is Ar-Razak, the provider, why do our actions show more belief in job portals than in His promises? We chase what looks secure on paper, government jobs, corporate ladders, safe salaries, but we treat Allah's rizq like a backup plan. Here's the truth. Many people aren't stuck because they're unskilled. They're stuck because they've ignored the path Allah opened for them. While begging Him to reopen doors, He already shut. You cry, "Ya Allah, I'm doing my part. Why isn't it working?" Maybe the answer is, it's not working because your rizq was never meant to come through them. It was always meant to come through you, through your own hands, through your ideas. Through the service Allah inspired you with. The Prophet said it again. No one eats better than what he earns with his hands. You weren't created to beg endlessly. You were created to build, with purpose. We ask Allah for provision, but when He opens an unfamiliar path, a small business, a service, a freelance project, we hesitate, we doubt, because society doesn't respect it. But maybe that was the very path where your barakah was hidden. You kept chasing a system of delays and denials when Allah already gave you a shortcut others can't even see. The world teaches you success means being chosen. Islam teaches you were already chosen by Allah. Now walk the path He made for you. Let's be honest. Most people today aren't searching for purpose. They're just trying to survive, scraping by, avoiding drowning. That's why the job search sounds like, will they hire me? But in Islam, the focus is, how can I help? The Prophet said, the most beloved of people to Allah are those who are most beneficial to others. That's not just inspiration, that's strategy. So stop only asking who will hire me and start asking, what need can I fulfill? Because when you stop chasing validation and start delivering value, your rizq changes completely. It's not tied to logos. It's tied to service, sincerity, and solutions. And look around. The world is full of problems. Muslim families struggling to find halal products, students battling mental health, children with no guidance, elders with no support, mothers overwhelmed. Each of these isn't just a problem. It's an opportunity. A tutoring service, a small food startup, an Islamic blog, a simple digital product. You don't need millions, you don't need investors, you need niyyah. You need to start. Because barakah shows up when you act, not when you go viral. Some of the wealthiest and most peaceful Muslims today weren't hired by anyone. They simply helped someone, and Allah sent the rizq running to them. You've sent the CVs, attended the interviews, fixed the resume, polished LinkedIn, and still silence, rejection. Your heart whispers, maybe I'm not good enough. But what if the issue isn't you, but your direction? You keep knocking on human doors while ignoring the only door that ever mattered. The door of Allah rizq isn't locked behind interviews. It's not in degrees or titles. Allah says, whoever fears Allah, He will make for him a way out and provide from places he never expected. Where is the fear of Allah in your job hunt? Where is the sujood before Fajr? The tears in the silence of the night? We chase referrals and connections, but the most powerful connection was always the one who wrote your rizq before you were born. Ask yourself, when was the last time you begged Allah, not for a job title but for tawakkul, not for a position but for peace? Because the people you're trying to impress, they don't control your future, Allah does. They can reject you 100 times. But if Allah wills, one path will open, a path you never even imagined. And maybe the sujood you make today will be the reason that door opens tomorrow. Not because of your CV, but because of your ruku. Stop waiting for a reply from someone who isn't Ar-Rahman. Start replying to the adhan that calls you 5 times a day. Allah says, call upon me, I will respond to you. The Prophet said, the closest a servant is to his Lord is while in sujood. So increase your du'as. The world teaches you to chase. Islam teaches you to bow, and when you bow, rizq chases you. Today, one rejection email can crush someone's self-worth. But who gave them the right to define your value? When you attach your identity to people's approval, you don't just risk rejection. You give them your soul. Barakah isn't in resumes, it's not hiding in HR offices. Barakah comes from Allah, through sincerity, through service, and through sujood. When you chase the dunya, you gamble everything on outcomes. When you chase Allah, you invest everything in intentions. One says, what if they say no? The other says, what if Allah says yes? There's no shame in applying for jobs, but there is tragedy in measuring yourself by replies. Success in Islam is not in the result, it's in the obedience. You plant the seed, you water it, you make dua. Mak, harvest, that's not your job, that's Allah's. The greatest things in life, they're built without applause, without approval, without attention. So stop shrinking your dreams to fit someone else's checklist. Stop doubting your worth because of a silent inbox, and start doing the one thing that always brings return, pleasing Allah. Scroll through your feed. You'll see endless career tips, but scroll through our history and you'll find something better. The Prophet didn't wait for a job post. He built a nation. The Sahaba didn't chase resumes. They built legacies. Khadija Ray, a successful businesswoman who empowered the mission of Islam, Abu Bakr R.A., a man of wealth who used every drop of it for the deen. This ummah wasn't built by people who wanted jobs. It was built by people who lived for purpose. Real security. It doesn't come from a paycheck. It comes from yaqeen, certainty that Allah never abandons the one who walks his path. So yes, be responsible, work hard, take halal means, but never let this dunya make you forget who you are. Believers aren't built in boardrooms. They're built in the silent nights of dua, in tawakkul, in sacrifice. If you live like that, you won't need a platform. Your footsteps will echo in the heavens. So remember this: your risk doesn't come from a company. It comes from Al-Razaq. Your future isn't written by gatekeepers, it's written by Allah. So comment this dua to keep it close. Ya Allah, grant me rizq that brings me closer to you. And if this video reminded you to trust again, share it, not for likes, but so another heart can return to the only one who truly provides. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.